The first thing you need to do is you need to open Microsoft Excel. We need to go to the first column and we are going to insert our data. So I am going to still be looking at the data I shared with you before on how my students get to school. So I'm going to start with typing out the different methods of transport. So bus, car, walk, cycle, taxi. Then I'm going to go into the column next to this and then I'm going to put my results for each category. So 3 of my students travelled by bus, 10 travelled by car, 5 walk, 2 cycle, and none of my students get a taxi. So once you have entered your data, use your mouse to click over the first column box. Now if you click and hold your mouse on the left hand side and drag down, it will start to highlight everything you want it to. Now we're going to highlight all our data because we want to use all our data in our graph. Once you've selected all your data, you can take your finger off the left hand side of the mouse and it will still keep your data selected for you. Now, if we go to insert column, this is where you would click for a traditional bar graph. So if I click column, a drop down menu will appear and it will give us various options. Now I'm just going to go with a simple 2D column and I'm not even going to pick these two, I'm just going to pick this first one on the left. So I'm going to click a clustered column, so I'm going to click that with my mouse. You'll notice that this graph appears. Now, right now, our graph has no title and no axis labels, so we're going to need to change that. Now, when a graph appears on your screen, some chart tools will appear. Now, if we click on Design, we will get a range of options here. Now, if we click Chart Layouts first of all, and click this More option, and click down, it will give us some options of what we can add around our graph. Now, traditionally, we would go for this one, so this one I'm going to select. Okay, because it's got a title and it's got our axis labels. So if I click this one, it now applies it to my graph. Now the first thing you'll notice is this series 1 appears. Now this is effectively a key. We do not need a key for this bar graph because all our titles and chart types and categories are down here. So we can right click using our mouse onto this and click delete, and it will also extend our bar graph. Now for the axis titles. If you click on the first axis title and then we can select it and cover it over with our left hand side of our mouse, and we are going to add a new axis label. So these are all types of methods of transport. So I'm going to type in at the bottom methods of transport. When you click off of it, it will automatically save it for you. Then I'm going to go onto the left hand side. Again, I'm going to click it and then I'm going to select it with using the left hand side of my mouse. And this side is usually number of something. Now this one is number of students or number of people that travel to school a certain way. Typed what I need to, I can click off of it. Then we need a chart title. So again, you click on the chart title and you highlight it using the left hand side of your mouse, and then you can type a new title. So I'm going to type a new title in now. So a bar graph to show how students travel to school. I'm going to click off of it. Now what you can do as well at the top with your chart tools is you can change the colour of your graph here. So if you want a grey or a red, for example, you can do that. I'm going to stick with traditional grey. You can change some of the layout, but I'd recommend you just leave it as it is because this is an appropriate graph. Now, what we can also do is we can go back to home and we can edit the actual chart kind of font, if you like. So if I clicked my chart title and highlighted it, and I didn't want it in bold anymore, I could do that. If I want it underlined, I might want to make the text a bit smaller, and I can do all sorts of things with that. So I'll leave that up to you. You might want to change your axis labels too. You might want to not have them bold. You might completely change the font, but just make sure that you can actually read the font. So I might go for Century Gothic. I might have the same down here. And there you go. You can make your graph bigger so it's clearer. And obviously your bars will then look clearer. You can click on these axis labels down here and you can make them bigger. So you can basically do anything you want with this graph. It's very easy to do in Excel. Now once you're happy with it and you'd like to maybe copy and paste it into Word, all you've got to do is right click inside that box the graph is in and you can copy it and you can paste it somewhere else. Or you might want to move your actual graph, and if you clicked Move Chart, you might want to move it onto a different Excel spreadsheet. So you've got sheets 1, 2 and 3 down here. You might want to move me to one of them. You might want it on a completely different sheet. So if I clicked New Sheet and I wanted to say that it's a bar graph and click OK, it will just be saved onto a brand new sheet. So there's no additional data around the side. Why not use this data to create your own bar graph and see how you get on?